Hey guys, it's Brad from Eastcoastangel. Today I am going to be doing that. Had a posting up on Facebook underneath Eastcoastangel, and I wanted to be able to get a whole bunch of these guns, different platforms in, so I could do tear down videos of each one. I wanted to be able to, especially the older versions, because there are so many of them out there, and I get a lot of questions, which is no big deal. I don't mind answering questions and whatnot, but the videos everybody was asking me for, and I figured why not? I'm plenty busy. There's plenty of people that will not touch their guns, whether I produce videos for each one, even if I was to do do these teardowns in slow motion. People still, just don't want to mess with them. I've got an LED coming that I just purchased off of eBay. I'm really excited about that because that's going to get a full teardown. Even though the guy says it shoots great and everything like that, I don't care. I want to be able to put that that video together. I've got a couple of other guns also on the way, mainly for just regular service, but I'm going to use them in the videos anyway. I will be updating the list on Eastcoastangel page on Facebook. That way you can, if there's still some guns on the list and you have them, you can send them in, and get a discount while I'm doing the videos. So I kind of, it's like a one for one really. Anyway, today is Brad's absolutely beautiful Speed Demon, and Sportz did these years ago. They added a little bit of milling to them. Other than that, they're pretty basic, pretty standard. They did put the shank volley on there, the Maltese cross detents. The back plate is also Sportz. These are really sharp guns. These guns shoot absolutely amazing. The 03, 04 speeds are, I think, honestly, some of the smoothest shooting guns that you can buy. From Angel, unless you were to go, to the high end, the SBs and the ARCs and stuff like that, fully loaded with longer barrels and porting and stuff like that. But as for just right out of the gate, these things are phenomenal. I love converting these speeds because they just absolutely blow my mind. They're super quiet. They've got very little kick, and just for the money. I know that that he didn't break the bank when buying this, and I mean this right here. If I was selling this, I would want at least $2 1/4, $2.50. For this gun, I wouldn't sell it for any less than that. I'd hold on to it. Anyway, here we go with the teardown. The first thing everybody knows by now, if you watch any of the videos, first thing I like to do is I like to take the the grip off. That way I can get to the wires, solenoid wire, battery wire on this one. They're it's kind of important. I mean, if you don't know how to take these apart and you go ahead and you try to take the frame off first, or whatever else like that, without knowing that there's wires connecting the two, you're going to end up doing some damage. You're going to end up soldering or whatnot, sending it in to somebody to work on. This is just being able to avoid that. I did forget that it actually has the cops. This one just got some kind of trickiness with the solenoid. Because it's Brad, I'm probably going to end up hooking them up and redoing these wires, just because they look like they've been kind of played with. I'm not a real big fan of Mickey Mousing stuff, so that's one of the reasons why I think I'll end up redoing those wires for him, which just I'll just clip off this end, solder on a new plug, and some new wires, kind of get him a fresh start. I know he's planning on keeping this gun for a little while, so I want to make sure that it shoots great. As far as I know, it shoots great now, but he's doing me a favor again by sending the gun in. I get to tear it down. I get to go through it, show you guys how everything works, and then send it back to him shooting great. So now we've gotten to that point where the wires are undone. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the grip frame screws off. It's always a treat to work on a gun that's been taken care of, that has, you know, a good previous owner. You know, as you can see, I'm taking this apart, and it is coming apart easily. The screws aren't all, you know, all mangled, all damaged. Yesterday, I managed to bring back from the dead one of the gnarliest G7s I've ever worked on. Guy bought it. I actually guess I spoke with him. He traded a broken gun for that one, which was also broken. I get it, and not only is it broken, but it has just been hacked. Somebody went to town on the breech. It looked like they didn't realize that the breech you know, unlocked you know, with a lever. They tried to pry open the breech. It was just ugly. I ended up having to drill out two screws. I ended up having to do you know, I had to put in a new RAM. I had to put in new eyes. A new reg cartridge because it was filled with sand. You know, we're talking absolute abuse. And I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I texted him. I told him. I said, you know, I said, this is gonna run you some money. I said, you need to let me know if you want me to go ahead with it or not. He decided to, you know, take the plunge. I put a Virtue board in it. You know, brand new eyes, new, you know, new reg, new, you know, reg cartridge, all new seals. And I took it out just a little while ago, and the thing absolutely mows. I was just blown away by how well it shot. It was just, I mean, I'm shooting $30 a case paint. I mean, this stuff, you know, what does that break down to? You know, it's $7.50 a bag. That stuff's dirt cheap. Not a single break, not a chop, nothing. It was all ball on ball, which, you know, that doesn't, you know, have anything to do with, you know, cheap paint or anything like that. That just has to do with the Angel. I mean, it's a low pressure Angel. It should shoot well. You know, it should shoot again, you know, extremely well. You know, soft. You know, and whatnot. It did exactly what it's supposed to do. The guy's going to get it back, and he's going to be absolutely floored. So anyway, when I go and I take these guns apart, what I do is I go through and I fiddle. You know, fiddle around, you know, with the buttons and stuff like that to get the buttons out of there and stuff like that. This gun is absolutely clean, so I'm not going to take the you know, the Sensei pad out. There's no reason to. As soon as you start messing with these, you need to make sure when you put them back together. If you look right there, you see those green wires? Those will get flattened in a second if they're not in that little channel when you go to put it back onto the gun and you screw that in. What happens is they get pinched, they get flattened, they ground out, they don't work well anymore. If you're not cleaning this area either, and there's a lot of paint down in here, sometimes the paint will get in because, you know, as soon as if you were to break a ball in here, what happens is the paint runs down, you know, down that rod, and then it sits on that pad. You know, this is their archaic paint sensing system, but when it's working, it works great. That's the thing, and I believe this, you know, this stuff works good, as far as I know. You know, the only thing that I don't necessarily like right at the moment is I'm looking at the cops, and it looks like it's actually probably not going to pass an eye test. You know, because it looks like there's a significant amount of damage to that, you know, the little sensor. There's a bar that runs across where the little, you know, that rod that I showed you, you know, taps this pad. I mean, granted, I'll go ahead and I'll run the test and everything like that in a little while after I fix his wires and stuff. And if it passes, great. But if it doesn't, I mean, you know, I'll swap that out. I mean, you're looking at like $20 for one of those. It's not a big deal, but it also it keeps your gun original, which, you know, for a lot of people that's really, really important. You know, I personally am a huge fan of you know, of original, you know, original guns. I like all of the regular stuff that, you know, that these guns come with. I'm always very happy to work on guns that have all the original parts, you know, the boards and stuff like that. I mean, I do a ton of conversions. I think I'm on like, honestly, I think I'm on like number 40 or 41 of the conversions that I've done so far. But they're, you know, to get an original gun coming in, you know, I absolutely love that. You know, I can't say enough about that. You know, originality is really cool. Or original parts that you could get, you know, back in the day for these guns. They don't necessarily, I mean, like I've got my you know, G7 Dark, and it has a it has all parts that you could buy originally from either Angel or from one of the parts suppliers through, you know, through these companies that used to make the parts all the time, you know, for them. Right now what I'm doing is I'm taking the, I took the set screw out of the trigger. You know, there's a set screw right here in the frame, and now I'm punching out the pin. The pin's going to come out the same side as the set screw. Don't try punching it out the other way, it won't work. You'll end up damaging something else, and then at that point, you know, you're going to be in a situation where you're going to have to explain how you know, why you damaged your frame, and you can't use your Angel anymore. You know, sometimes I'm able to tap those out like that. This particular time, I cannot. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take, I took and I cut down a hex key. Mainly the reason I use this is not only is it, you know, the size is good, but the thing is if you notice, hex keys, when they don't have anything else on the side of them, you know, like the bend and stuff like that, they're actually pretty strong if you were to use them just like that as a you know, like a punch. You know, which I really, you know, I use this thing all the time, and it's the perfect size. It gets in there, and you know, it just sends all the energy right to the pin, which is, you know, what we're looking to do here. As you can see, I'm starting to get it out, you know, out of the frame. Sometimes it takes a little bit. Sometimes these, you know, are really stuck right in there, but they all come out, you know, relatively easily. As you can see, the pin is really shiny. It's really clean. You know, it's the reason why it came out as easily as it did. You know, I pull the triggers out. You know, give them a once over, check, make sure all of the, you know, all the hex key, the hex set screws, you know, are moving, you know, easily. These do. You know, all the little things, you know, the little adjustments and stuff like that that you would use, you know, at some point on these, you know, on these guns. You want to make sure that they're working well. I mean, you take the gun out and somebody's like, oh wow, you know, this is really cool, but you know, can you adjust the trigger a little bit and make it easier for me to shoot? You're like, yeah, sure, not a problem. Oh wait, yeah, no, I can't because the set screws are all stripped, and I, you know, and you know, I haven't swapped them out or done anything else like that. You know, it's always good to be able to, you know, be able to adjust your gun when you want to. All right, the next thing I do is I take off the mini reg. You know, the mini regs are made of a couple of parts. They're really basic, really simple. You know, and the first thing you want to do, if you look at that, you'll see there's a little tiny snap ring in there. You know, use a pair of snap ring pliers, a little, you know, pair of hobby pliers will work also. You know, as soon as you get the snap ring to the point where you can get it to exit out of the regulator, I would cover it up a little bit, because then you can take the snap ring out. You don't have to worry about it ricocheting all over the place. The last thing you want to do is lose that little guy, and then you know, then you're at a situation where you have to find somebody that has them. Most hardware stores do not have that size. You know, that's a what they call an internal snap ring, so it works from the inside and springs out. You know, most of the hardware stores and stuff like that have you know, external, which you open up and then it clamps on. You know, which isn't going to work for this situation. So now I've got the reg, you know, and there's the insides. You've got the piston inside there. It's not going to be able to, you know, it typically won't just drop out. So what you want to do is, I mean, I use my Leatherman tool, you know, because it really gives me a really good solid platform to be able to, you know, tap the insides of these out. Usually just give them a couple of good, you know, good sturdy whacks. You know, you're not going to damage the reg. I mean, it's a good solid aluminum lip right there. As long as you hit it, you know, dead on, you know, you're going to get that part coming right out. You know, the next thing in there, I mean, when you get this out too, you just take a look at the O-rings, make sure that they're greased, make sure that you have, you know, the shims are in the right order, and then you just kind of put that off to the side. If you don't need to replace anything on there, maybe just put a little bit of grease on it, then that's awesome. I mean, you know, the easier it is, the better. Now, you know, there's a small little piston down inside there. I don't think you can see it just due to the lighting, but to get that out, do the same thing. Now, it dropped right out. There's your piston, and there's your the ball bearing. That's your adjuster for the velocity. For some reason or another, you put your gun back together, and you realize that you know, wow, my gun won't chrono. It's not working properly, or whatever else like that. You know, there's a good chance the ball bearing isn't in your regulator. You know, and if that's the case, you're going to need to try to find it. I would recommend putting all of your screws and stuff like that, and any loose parts or stuff that you think you may lose, in one area. Makes it a lot easier to be able to locate stuff when you go to put everything back together. You know, my work area is usually you know, pretty organized. You know, as long as I'm working on one thing at a time. You know, I mean, there is the occasion where I'll have trays of parts or seals or something like that. You know, sitting directly below the camera is, you know, my travel box. It literally has everything that I would need to completely tear down a gun and put it all back together. I'm talking boards, batteries, seals, screws, breech rods, breech pins, you know, all internals, everything. I could redo probably 3 or 4 guns just by what I would bring to the field with me when I'm testing guns and stuff like that, if I do multiples. Mainly because I don't want to get stuck without something that I need. I'm really kind of paranoid about that. My field is about it's about 45 minutes away to an hour away from where I live. It would really suck to have to drive all the way back because I forgot, you know, something stupid like a, you know, solenoid, you know, seal or you know, an O-ring of some sort. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely strip down the bottom side of the gun. You know, there's 2 screws that hold the vertical ASA adapter on there, or the reg adapter. You know, and you're going to want to take both of those out. You know, this one right here is kind of tricky. You use a long, you know, you've got a long-handled, you know, Allen key. You can't put the short handle in there to get the torque, but you can put the long part in, and that's fine. Then at that point, you know, again, you know, I use, you know, my Leatherman tool a lot, you know, for this, you know, sort of thing. But you could use a pair of pliers or something else like that. Just go ahead and, you know, grab onto the end of the Allen key, and give it a, you know, a little twist, and the, you know, that one's good to go, broke free, clean. You know, over torquing screws, I've mentioned it before in a couple of my videos. It's just a bad idea. It's going to cost you a lot more time, you know, and sometimes money. You know, you go ahead and you mess up one of these screws. You may or may not be able to find it in the hardware store, or you may not have a hardware store around you. You might have Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, and I'm pretty sure that they don't carry the parts that like a small mom and pop store would. So, you know, always want to kind of keep that in mind when, you know, putting your gun back together and making sure that you don't over torque the screws. I've spent hours fixing, dremeling, drilling out screws. I did last night. I had to do 2. One was, you know, a humongous pain. It was the set screw that goes into the lever for the ram on the G7. That set screw inside that lever was stripped. I had to drill that out, and it was just a humongous fiasco. Anyway, you've got a little O-ring on the top right there. I love to see this. I take this apart. There's no oil. Somebody decided not to go nuts with the oil. That's awesome. You know, I absolutely love that. You know, oil is overused and abused with these guns, which is really unfortunate because, you know, as soon as you start putting oil to them, you know, in excess, that means that the gun needs work. You know, at this point, sooner or later you're going to be at this stage, whether you're paying for it or whether you're doing it yourself. So, you know, again, keep that in mind. The next thing I like to do is I like to take the body pins out. There's one that holds the LPR and there's one that holds the valve. They should just slide right out. They're tapered. You know, you want to put the tapered end in first. If you put the other end in first, it's probably not going to fit. Or if it does fit, it's going to fit really hard. You know, and taking it back out later on is going to probably be, you know, cause a bit of an issue. So keep in mind, you know, always use the, you know, the tapered end of the body pin and push it in there. If for some reason or another you take apart one of these guns and you realize, oh wait, you know, there's, you know, now I know why the gun's not working properly, because one of the body pins is completely missing. Or if you miss one over, or you know, or you lose one, let me know. You can get a hold of me through gearhead04@yahoo.com, or through you know, my Facebook page, Eastcoastangel. I'm also on the Angel Buy, Sell, and Trade. I'm on Angel Paintball Parts. You know, a buddy of mine, his name's George. He runs that. You know, great guy. If you need parts, definitely hit him up. You know, go on PB Nation, look under East Coast Angel. You know, or you can you know, hang out in the Angel Paintball Sports forums. I'm always posting in there, you know, and trying to help out people if they're finding parts or whatever else like that that they might need. So now I'm pretty much at that point. You know, you can take this bottom plate out. You can remove the, there's two O-rings. You need to make sure that these O-rings go back in. If they do not go back in, you're going to have leaks. There's air passages down in here that surround the paint, you know, the Sensei paint detection system. If you don't put those O-rings back, you are going to have issues. You're going to have some sort of leaking. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take this ginormous dagger off the front of the gun. That way I can get to, you know, the parts that are behind it, you know, at some point. Put that off to the side. Again, this gun's really rare. You know, it's in really good shape. I'm glad Brad got it. You know, because I know he'll, you know, I know he'll take care of it. And he's taking care of it right now by sending it to me. You know, he's a smart guy. So I take the plug off the other side. That's going to be where the LPR is and where the battery is. Now I go to the back. This is usually where I get a moderate amount of frustration, and that's mainly because people go and they put the you know, the Hulk strength into the back screws on the back plate. You know, there's a point. There's nothing back here that cranking these screws onto the back of this gun is going to help. There's nothing seals up. There's no O-ring. There's no gigantic O-ring that goes around here or anything. All it does is it holds the battery, you know, the battery switch on off. It holds your breech rod in place and the spring. Then of course also it covers up the solenoid in the back and the ram. But you know, again, there's no need to crank on you know, these back you know, screws. You know, they're stainless steel going into you know, into aluminum. They will bind and meld themselves right to the aluminum if you let them. You know, meaning if you really just jam on them. You know, I've seen it so many times. I've had to drill out so many of them. You know, it gets crazy. All right, and then after you get done here, you can see there's a whole lot of business going on here. It's no big deal. Don't get overwhelmed. You first you take the back plate off of, you know, unscrew the back plate off of the on-off switch. I'm only doing this because it just, you know, trust me, at some point you'll realize it's easier to maneuver all of this stuff without that back plate just hanging around. You know, now you've got two things here. You know, I'm pulling out the solenoid wires, and I can see there's been a lot of trickery going on here. Not only have they been soldered there, which is great, but then something else happened here. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to get rid of that because that bothers me. All it takes is one of those wires to come, you know, disconnected. Suddenly your gun doesn't want to work at all. You know, and that sucks, especially on game day, where you go to show off, you know, with your friends or whatever, and say, hey, check out my gun, it shoots awesome, and then suddenly it doesn't shoot at all. You know, I'm pulling out the battery pack here. All the wires look, you know, relatively good on this. You know, unfortunately, I did just notice that there is one issue, and you can see one of the wires has come separated from the battery pack. You know, honestly, I may or I may not be able to solder that back on. You know, I'll take a look at that in a little while. Soldering wires on the battery onto the tops of the battery packs are difficult. You have to have a hot soldering gun. You know, and honestly, I think mine is, you know, for moderate wire-to-wire soldering. I'm not sure if it'll you know, be strong enough to solder onto the top of that battery properly. You know, either way, you know, I'll take care of Brad though. And again, I've taken out the breech rod and the return spring. I'm going to put those off to the side. That spring likes to take off. You know, if you're not careful with it, if you don't, you know, watch where it goes, it will surprise you and it'll just fly off, and you're probably not going to find it again. So, you know, keep an eye on it. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ram out. I'm going to take the ram out of the back. I'm going to use a ram tool. Only going to be using a ram tool because of the fact that it is easier to use one of these to get the ram out. Sometimes you can use two hex keys and your Allen keys, and you can cross them up, which is great. But the fact of the matter is, nothing beats what Angel made it for. There you go. It's got two little prongs in it. You put it in the back of the ram. You give it a little twist, and miraculously, the ram just comes right out. If you need any of these, all you have to do is just, you know, again, email, go on PB Nation, go on you know, Facebook, and you know, find me. You know, won't be that difficult. You know, I'm on there every day, and you know, if I don't have them, I can get them to you. It's not a problem. All right. You know, the next thing I'm going to do, you know, is you know, removing the solenoid. You know, some people won't have to do this. I don't recommend, you know, going ahead and taking the solenoid out. It's usually not necessary. But the fact of the matter is, with this one, you know, I've already made a decision that I'm going to be fixing the wires, you know, on this one, because, you know, such a nice gun like this definitely deserves, you know, clean wires. Deserves, you know, for it to, you know, work properly every time. You know, I have a feeling that he's going to be shooting this gun a lot. So, you know, I'm gonna go ahead, and I'm gonna put I'm gonna put it in there that, you know, I'm taking the solenoid out. That way you can see what's going on. There's a little hold down plate. It's right here. Again, you can use your ram tool to hold it when you use the hex key, so it doesn't spin around and stuff, especially when putting it back in the gun, you know, because it will, you can see there's two little holes in there, two little prongs, and that's it. I'd recommend getting those tools if you're going to be tearing down your Angel more than you know, more than once. You know, also try to keep your solenoid together in one piece. A little bit of grease on the end of it, on the pad, is fine. That you know, keeps everything going. This gun has been taken care of. It's really clean. It's in really good shape. I like seeing that. You know, you can take the detents out if you want. They usually just thread out. These ones are a little bit different. You know, there's no Allen key to drop in or whatever. Just really sharp pieces of funny aluminum, which I'm going to leave them because I can tell when I look down the, you know, down the front. I can see the detents. I can see that they're in good shape. You know, the feed neck is in really good shape. It came off of the gun when it was shipped. When it was shipped to me. So, you know, I mean, it can, you know, come on and off. I don't recommend, you know, taking and twisting the thing on and off all the time, just due to the fact that you can damage stuff. Again, you know, it's all about preserving these guns. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to push out the valve, and I'm going to push out the LPR. I'm going to use a wooden spoon. I use a wooden spoon so it doesn't damage the insides of the chambers. If you damage the inside of the chambers, you could end up ruining your gun. A lot of people are like, yeah, but you know, you could like use a hone and stuff like that. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead and find a hone that'll fit down into that chamber and make it so it's not so big and so bored out that you can't get it to seal properly. You know, all it takes is one small scratch and you can turn one of these guns into a leaking disaster for the rest of its life. You know, I'm just trying to give you a little bit of a heads up first so that doesn't happen. You know, when you push out the LPR, I like to keep it maybe an inch or two above the table. I like to force it down till it hits the table, and then slowly lift up on the body while pushing down on the spoon. You can also use a squeegee, a plastic, you know, tip squeegee or something of that nature. Again, don't use anything metal or abrasive. You know, you don't want to go beating on your, you know, on the bodies, especially these guns. These are rare. I think there's like maybe 100 of them built or something like that. You know, maybe less. Who knows? I've only seen them in, you know, 2 colors. You know, they are quite rare. Again, thank you, Brad, for letting me use your, you know, your Speed Demon. It's going to be a pleasure to put back together and shoot. Like I said, I'm going to, you know, do a little soldering on, you know, on the solenoid. The battery, I'm probably just going to end up replacing, and I may at some point, you know, replace that that Sensei, you know, or the Cops, you know, pad, just because I have a feeling that it's probably not going to be any good. But again, thank you very much. If you need any more information, or you need parts, or you want to send in your gun for service, all you have to do is call 978-530-6747 or text, whatever. Or you can email gearhead, GEARHEAD 04 at yahoo.com, or go on PB Nation underneath East Coast Angel, or go on Facebook at East Coast Angel. I've got a page up there. You know, I get back to people almost instantly. I've got my phone on me, you know, quite a bit. You know, anytime. Again, thank you for tuning in, and you know, take care of your angels. You know, I want to be able to see them shooting. I want to hear about them. You know, I want to see people out there using these guns. Again, these are phenomenal high-end guns. They deserve to be shot. They deserve to be taken care of. Again, thank you very much, fellas.